So the thing is like utilizing this idea that, oh, well, feminists want this for women. Feminists also want to deconstruct patriarchal systems.
Right.
So let me give you a logical argument here, okay, that I'd like you to respond to. How can feminists do that without appealing to the patriarchy? How can they take down the patriarchy without then appealing to the patriarchy in an infinite regress?
How do you mean?
Well, I would argue that men have the monopoly on force.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, they have the monopoly on force, and they always will have the monopoly on force. My proof and evidence is half of the world. Half of the world right now, if they decide women are, and did, they were. And women could never appeal to anybody except men for their rights because they don't have force. So because that's true, you tell me how it is that women, feminists, how it's actually logical for them to say we're going to dismantle the patriarchy, even though via the force metric, they're going to infinitely have to appeal to it for their rights.
So you're saying, like, if all men wanted to, women, like, they would be able to do it because men are stronger than women, etc.
Like half the world.
Right. But he
so
gave you this
it presupposes how most of the observable world actually operates.
In that respect, and that's not what I'm taking issue with.
Mm-hmm.
The part that I'm taking issue with is just that it would break along these lines very neatly.
No. That's not the argument.
But
the argument
what he presented to you is just that it would be like saying, like, if you have a group of people whose names start with the letter A, and then you have all the people whose names start with the letter B to Z, and all of those people work together to overcome the people whose names start with A, then yes, almost by definition, they would be able to, like, overcome the people with A, probably.
No. Well, yes, but also no. So let's copy out a few things. First and foremost, do you agree with me that there have been many revolutionary fights and revolts?
Yes.
Okay. Can you name any of them that were led or fought by women ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
Ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
One time in history?
No, I don't believe so.
So then what's going on
Boudica.
is that...
Boudica, the Celts, they fought the Romans.
No,
yeah,
that
Boudica.
was men, guarantee it.
No,
we
Boudica
can look it up.
was a queen.
I mean, like, they were
having
she
a
rode the
queen,
chariot, dude.
Hang on. Having a queen there doesn't mean that the people who have the monopoly on force weren't men, because it's always men who have the monopoly on force. And so the reason she can't she can't point to any time ever in history that's revolts and things like this were ever in operation by women. Women can never successfully take their freedom back from a patriarchal... Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
They can never take their freedom back from a patriarchal force without appealing to a patriarchal force. Ever. Not that queen, not any queen, not any person ever in the history of all of mankind.
But it seems like you said because it hasn't happened, it can't happen.
It can't.
But that's saying the only justification is because it hasn't happened yet.
No, the justification is that men are much, much stronger than women.
But guns are
overwhelmingly
for that purpose.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Sorry,
show me. Let's get 10 women in a room and hand them a magazine and watch what happens.
But the great equalizer, the ballistic, is
no,
like,
it's not a great. It's not a great equalizer.
Just
Ian,
like with the monkeys, the biggest, strongest monkey would be the alpha.
Yeah,
then the other monkeys decide to...
What happens is with these equalizers is men take the equalization away from women because they're much stronger, which is why you see all these police officers getting disarmed and women in combat getting their ass stomped. That's why you don't see female Navy SEALs. That's why you don't see any of that, because they can't do it. They're physically incapable of doing it. Now, even if I grant you an outlier, even if I grant you G.I. Jane, who never came to fruition, G.I. Jane never existed, never came to fruition because they can't do it. But even if I granted you a G.I. Jane, an outlier, the exception would prove the rule. So the thing is like the reason she can't name a single time that there's been a successful revolt or women gaining their rights by force from men without appealing to men is because it's never happened and it can't. So because of that, my argument is simply this. How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there could be laser beams from outer space.
An enforcement arm that is not human male. That's what you're asking.
Aliens?
I can logically grant that a powerful, all-powerful gray alien species comes down here.
Drones.
And then you're appealing to the gray alien species to control the men.
You're asking for a type of force other than the human male that could be appealed to. I'm talking
who builds
about
all the drones,
robots
Ian?
and ballistics.
Who builds all the drones?
At this point, more drones.
Who builds them?
Somebody built some drone that builds more drones.
Who builds
now.
them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men.
Could be men. Could
Who
be
builds
women.
all the weapons? Men. Who knows how
men
to
and
use
women
all the
working
weapons?
together.
Men. Who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not
It's
a
always men.
100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
But not the majority.
Well,
Of course
that's
not.
They're unique. Not everybody's the same, but they're more
Ian,
outliers.
how come these badass women don't go, hey, I'm tired of wearing this really hot in the middle of this sun, and we got like, millions of us, so we're just going to take out this patriarchy. Why not?
Well, they are stripping their off in Iran.
They're and
how's
appealing
that
to
going?
men to come in and help them.
Yeah, I mean, ballistic force, appealing to the force, basically.
Appealing to the force.
And there
force
are-
doctrine, unbeatable, always appealing to the patriarchy. So answer me this question. How is it that women, feminists, how is it even a logical position to say that you want to repeal the patriarchy with full knowledge that you'll always have to appeal to the patriarchy in order to enforce your deconstruction of the patriarchy? It's the most circular, stupid thing I've ever heard.
I think you have to appeal to force to
and who has the
overcome.
monopoly on
At
that?
the current state,
Uh-huh.
the human male.
Okay, so right this very second, if women want to deconstruct the patriarchy, who do they have to appeal to?
Right. Yeah.
Men.
Yeah. They
Can
vote.
you steal man Ian's argument?
Yeah, Ian is saying, what if there was some technological marvel that equalized force?
Like guns.
I thought the sense that I got from your arguments is that right now the domain of force is, and this is your view as well, one that is overwhelmingly dictated by, supported by, and led by men. But there exists a world potentially where women could get access to this domain of force that either, I don't even think you're saying entirely excludes, but leads them to have an upper hand over men.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're saying all of this technology is basically the great equalizer, because between drones, tanks, guns, etc.,
Where?
if it's just a matter of
Yeah, where?
what? No, I don't think that you're saying it's happened yet, but you're saying that we can't just say because it hasn't happened yet that it necessarily won't in the future.
And this
Well,
all
you
stuff
don't have a
originated.
human-
Well,
a
hang
lot
on,
of these
hang on.
weaponry that I'm talking about originated
you
because we had
advocating-
alpha males saying no one can stop me.
Sure.
I'm the biggest, strongest.
I'll tell you what,
It's not the
then.
strongest that survives.
Hey,
it's the one that's the most adaptable.
I'll tell you what, then advocate for feminism in 200 years where it's possible, but it's definitely not right now. There's no world right this second which exists or has in the last 7,000 years where women can do anything but address their grievances to those who have the monopoly on force. That's always men. So you're necessarily always going to have a patriarchy. It's a vicious
no,
circle.
that's the fallacy. Saying it always happened, therefore it will always happen, is a
Didn't say
misnomer.
that. I said appeal for it in 200 years then when it does happen. Or if we were asking about logical possibility, remember, Superman's logically possible. I can grant a logical possibility where aliens come down and put shock collars on men, and if they look at women cross-eyed, they get fucking zapped. That's logical. It could happen. Its possibility pragmatically is like fucking zero, though. So because of that, I'm going to look at this from pragmatic logic, practical logic. If I'm looking at pragmatic and practical logic, Ian, I'm going to ask you again right this second, if men want to appeal anything by power of law, who do they have to appeal to
Women.
enforce it?
If
Who-
women want to.
If women do. Women do.
Yeah, generally the government, which is usually run
Who's
by
the
men.
enforcement, though?
Yeah, cops.
It's going to be men.
Usually men.
It's
big,
always
strong, buff dudes.
everywhere men. And if men decide to collectively women tomorrow, let's just say they
no,
did.
that I don't agree with. Because there would
Okay,
be men
I'm
who
not
would stand
saying
up
that you
against
agree
it.
that it's morally correct. I'm asking whether or not they could do it.
They could try, and then other men would stand up to defend against it.
So who are you appealing to
Men,
again?
Still.
We would be appealing to ourselves.
You'd be appealing to men
It
again.
can be men and
what
women.
you just got
arming
done
up to defend
saying
against
is,
psychos
if
like
men
that. What do you
came
think?
in and they tried women, men would stop them.
And women would
Brilliant,
stop them,
Ian.
and probably
I
kids
know.
would stop them too.
Yeah, but
Like,
who would those women and kids be
If you-
appealing to for force?
They're rifle. They're. What are you talking about?
men. They'd be appealing
It would
to
be
the men.
if a bunch of dudes came to the women
Yeah.
in your neighborhood, and you and your wife and your kids
Uh-huh.
grabbed their rifles.
Uh-huh.
You would all be appealing to what? Are you talking? There's no
They'd be
appeal.
appealing to the men.
You'd be to God. Your
Oh,
right to
yeah.
self-defense.
You're
That's
so
what
Okay,
we're
can I
talking
just
about.
say,
Hang
if
on,
someone comes
Ian.
after me and they have a gun, I'm going to look to my husband with the gun. I
Yeah,
mean, I
help
might
me.
have the
Hang on,
gun,
hang on.
but
Help me
I'm
out
going
here.
to look to my husband to protect me.
Hang on, Ian.
There gets to a point where he's going to hand you a rifle because the two of you are better shots than one of you.
Yeah, so 300 men, they invade a suburban neighborhood that has 700 women in it. Are they going to win?
What is the situation? So you're
That's
in a
just
walled
700 women.
compound that is only
No,
700 women,
and they're in a suburban
all
neighborhood,
unarmed?
and 300 men come in there, and they're like, "We're taking
Are
this
the
shit."
women strapped?
They're both strapped.
They're all strapped. Probably
Yeah.
700 people are going to wipe those dudes
Oh,
out.
come
they have,
on,
they
Ian.
can shoot from windows. These guys are walking down streets.
Oh,
what
Ian.
a tactical disadvantage. Are they trained? Who are these men?
Yeah, okay, Ian.
Just random
let's find
men?
out. Let's find out if this is true. Let's just take a logical exercise here. You are a prison warden, and you're offered two choices for those who can guard your prisoners. You'll either get twice the women or half the men to guard these prisoners. Now, these are the worst prisoners on planet Earth. They're big, they're mean, they're strong, and they're awful. Now, remember, you're going to get 2 women for every 1 male guard. Which one are you going to choose?
The men.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So anyway, back to the
They're
debate.
not shooting the dude. If you want to give me 700 rifles and you take 300 rifles, I'll take 700 rifles.
Okay. How about
if your guys are trained Navy SEALs,
what if I
now
give
it's a
you
different
3
argument.
women per 1 man?
Are they armed? What
Yes.
are you talking about?
Hang on.
They have
All
rifles
things
to
are
shoot, to
equal.
kill?
In the guard towers, you can still have some women who are armed. The ones who have to patrol the floor, though, they're
Look,
women.
if I need dudes in hand-to-hand combat, that's its own thing. But if I need guards with guns, I'm going to take triple the guns. What are you?
Yeah, in the towers, you're going to take guards in the tower, triple the tower. I get it, but who's walking the floor, Ian?
Put some, I don't know, big burly dudes down there.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
that's not the argument.
That's
Your
right.
argument is that men can arbitrarily women because they're stronger. I mean, it's the
Yes.
it's almost like black and white.
Oh.
Like lack of
Hey,
evidence.
let me
Like,
ask you a question.
That's why we built guns to
Hey,
defend
Ian,
against that
Ian,
mentality.
Help me out. There's never been a female revolution ever using physical force against men, which has ever been successful or even really tried.
The French Revolution.
Which is full of men who were in
was started by
Come on.
women, dude.
Who was taking the men to the guillotines?
Who got the weapons out of the Bastille?
Who?
It was the women.
Bro, who was using them?
They all did.
No, it was
Dude,
the men, dude.
Are
Come
you
on.
unfamiliar with the women that started the French Revolution?
Ian, let's walk through the French Revolution. Who was taking the people to the guillotines?
I mean, I wasn't there.
Men?
But you're saying 100% men? Is this your argument? It was all men.
Almost, yeah.
No women, all men.
Yeah, basically
no,
all men.
I cannot believe
But
that's an
let's-
extreme.
I'll tell you what. I'll just grant it. It's 5% women.
Dude,
So
the women started the
I'll
revolution,
just
bro.
grant-
Do you
I'll
not
just-
know that?
I'll just grant it for you that it's 5% women who
The women
who are
started
fighting.
the communist revolution in Russia, too.
Yeah, so what? It has nothing to
It
do
was
with
a
force
successful
doctrine.
overthrow of the
It has
government, bro.
nothing to do.
You just said there
with
was no
force doctrine.
successful revolution started by women ever.
No. With physical force.
That was
In
the
other
French
words,
Revolution.
No,
what are you talking?
dude.
They robbed the bank. Sorry to interrupt. Make your point.
Let's pretend for a second that you have 8,000 women in cages, okay, who are, and then you have masters, okay. Can we point to instances in history where those all men who are in cages, right, have successfully overthrown their oppressors?
You said there's women in cages?
No, men.
Okay, so there's 800 men.
There's
in
8,000
cages?
men in
8,000 men
cages.
in cages.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been an instance in history where they've overthrown the dudes
Mm-hmm.
without external help?
No, well, yeah, even without external help.
Not that I know of. I mean, people in cages, they're in cages.
The answer is yes. There has been many rebellions which were successful, led by men, of all men. Not a single one by women. Hang on. Ever. Not a single one will you ever be able to point to historically where women were in mass by men and ever were able to successfully use force, stop, Ian, to get out of their... Not once. They always have to appeal to males. Always, which is why when I gave her the example, she was forced to agree. There's no choice around it. You always have to appeal to male force. There's no way around it. You're talking about women using like loudspeakers and propaganda to start fights, sure, but they're not fighting the fights, is my point. They're always appealing to people who can. That's the point. And so if it's the patriarchy that we're talking about, it's always going to be those who have a monopoly on force. So women, these feminists, are always going to have to appeal to those who have the monopoly on force, thus creating a new patriarchy. It's just like an over and over and over again cyclical, it's just cyclical logic.